Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of Chaos Child. We had a very uncomfortable situation with Kawahara. He declared his love for Kurisu in front of everybody and said that he would leave for now. And then the next day...
いやー、この部屋寒いっすね。暖房とかないんですか？
おい、なんで今日も来るんだよ。
だから部活だって言ってるじゃないですか。
その割には部活らしい活動なんて何一つしてないじゃないか。
それは部長が指針を示さないからです。
しばらくは各自の自主性に任せるって言っただろ。
指示とかないとひなえどうしていいかわかんない。
I wanted to punch her. I wanted to punch her right then and there. Jeez.
いいじゃない。どうせ毎日退屈してるところでしょ。
さすがクルス先輩は宮代先輩と違って話がわかるなあ。クッキーおいしい。
See, I really don't get this. I made a big point about Kawahara, but even Arimura's really over the top for her personality. Arimura was already digging into the tea and cookies that Nono had made.
もしかしてこれっておからですか？
あ、わかる？おからもらったから試しに作ってみたの。でも嬉しいわ。タクルったらそういうの全然分かってくれないんだもん。
そんなこと分かったところで世の中の情報とは何の関係もないだろう。知識っていうのはもっと別のところで培うものであって。
はいはい、分かった分かった。
Arimura grinned as she watched us.
何？
なんだかすっかりおしどり夫婦の貫禄ですな。
バカ言うな。家族なんだから当たり前だろ。
そうよ、家族なんだもの。
家族ね。
なに？
いえ、別にいいですけど。そうそう、それより実は今日は先輩方に聞きたいことがあって来たんですけど。
All that wasted time, and now this. If she wanted something, she should have said so.
クルス先輩って南沢千里って人とお友達だったんですよね。
え？
I leaned forward, surprised to be hearing that name now.
ほら、昨日そんな話をしてたでしょ。それでちょっと気になって。
Yeah, Kawahara brought it up.
ええ、小学校の頃よく一緒に遊んでたわ。川原くんと3人で。
ふーん、それじゃあ南沢さんってどんな人だったんです？
どうしてそんなこと聞くの？
いやいや、ちょっと興味がありまして。
I was curious too. Senrimi Namisawa was the girl we'd seen in AH Tokyo General Hospital when I was a kid, the one we left behind. I'd always thought that she might be the killer, but now I knew that I was wrong. And remember, he's still saying we haven't become aware that we made Serica, so in fact we were alone. I'd only seen her for an instant, but she'd had a huge effect on my life. Thinking back, it was strange that I hadn't asked about her before. Kazuki must have been interested too, because she was leaning forward and listening intently.
千里はおとなしい子だったわ。大勢の中に入っていくのが苦手で、私たち以外のことはあまり遊びたがらなくて。でも優しい子だったわ。
なるほどなるほど。じゃあ彼女の家庭環境について。
それはごめんなさい。彼女の家のこととかあまりよく知らないのよ。だからもういいでしょ。
でもお友達だったんですよね。
友達だってお家のことまでは普通知らないでしょ。それに私そろそろ夕飯の支度もしなきゃいけないし。
ああ、 こいつは失敬。私ったらついジャーナリストの血が騒いじゃって。
何がジャーナリストだよ。それらしい活動なんて一度も。
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, journalist blood?
それじゃあんまりゆっくりしてもご迷惑でしょうし、私たちは帰りますかね。
Man, I am so suspicious about all of this.
あ、
Arimura grabbed Kazuki's hand just before she could take another cookie, then stood up.
というわけで送ってください、宮代先輩。
は？なんで僕が？
だって事件はまだ終わってないんですよ。そんな中か弱い女の子2人だけを帰らせるなんて状況のすることじゃないですよね。
I mean, we know you're a psychic, and we don't know, but Kazuki's apparently a psychic.
そんなの状況とは全く関係ないこと。
それじゃあ宮代先輩ちょっと借りていきますね。失礼しました。
待て、僕が行くとは一言も。
Well, I ended up walking them home despite my protests. Why did I have to do this? I wasn't even sure what they'd come over for anyway. And on top of all that, Arimura had fallen strangely silent. Kazuki was always quiet, but experience had taught me that whenever Arimura wasn't talking, it meant trouble. Of course, it usually meant trouble when she was talking, too. We walked along in silence before Arimura finally opened her mouth.
嘘ついてますよ、クルス先輩。
Oh. Interesting.
それも南沢千里っていう人のことで何か隠してます。
Well, this is an angle I had not expected. My heart thudded loudly.
どうしてそんなこと？
どうしてって先輩も知ってるじゃないですか、私の能力のこと。
Yeah, we know about her power, and hiding something about Senri, if she's like, could we not talk about Senri?
それはそうだけど。
She was lying? Nono was lying? To me? I was worried about Senri Minamisawa as well, but between the two, that was the bigger shock.
それは確かなことなのか？
なんなら私の能力もう一度お見せしましょうか。
I could see her D-sword floating out of the corner of my eye.
いや、大丈夫だ。
Nono was hiding something. But why?
実は昨日話した時に気づいたんですよ。ほら、川原先輩と南沢千里さんの話してたでしょ。あの時クルス先輩、南沢千里さんは死んだって言ってたけど。
Oh, we're going back to this.
嘘だってのか？じゃあ南沢千里は生きてる
とクルス先輩は思っているってことになりますね。
Curious. She was alive. Senri Minamisawa was alive. But why would Nono have to hide that?
それから彼女のことよく知らないって言ってましたが、あれも嘘ですね。
What Arimura was saying was probably true. Nono knew Senri Minamisawa very well, and she believed that she was alive. Why did she think so? There were two possibilities. One was that she knew for a fact that Minamisawa was actually alive, the other was that she wanted to believe. If she'd consistently said she thought Senri was dead, then...
まあ今となっては事件のすべては尾上セリカによるものなわけだし、だから南沢千里さんのことはどうでもいいのかもしれないですけど、でもちょっと気になったもんで。それじゃあ宮代先輩、私たちはここで。
Interesting. So she brought us out here to tell us this.
先輩
I really hope this doesn't drive a rift between us again. It's such a pain.
なんだよ和樹、いきなりつねるなんて痛いじゃないか。
さっきから話しかけてるのに宮代先輩がぼーっとしてるからですよ。ねえ。うん。
そっか。
ひょっとして私余計なことをやっちゃいました？
いや、いいんだ。別に大したことじゃない。
そうですか。だったらいいんですけど。
I said goodbye to the two of them and headed back to the apartment. The whole way back, I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that Nono might be lying to me. Why? For what purposes? Purposes? The same questions kept spinning about in my mind.
家族の間で隠し事はしないこと。これだけは守ってほしいの。もう家族がバラバラにならないように。
That really would hurt if the whole reason we left in the first place was because it turns out she was keeping secrets, and if this happens a second time, that'll be brutal. Nono was the one who'd said that. No secrets, no lies. That was the one promise that kept us together. But...
おかえりタクル。
When I got back, Nono was the same as ever.
和樹たちちゃんと帰った？
うん。途中までだったけど。
There was no sign of the awkwardness that had been there when she was talking to Arimura. But...
さ、さっきの話だけど。
さっきのって？
南沢千里の。
ごめん。その話はもうやめてもらえるかな。
どうして？
だって死んでしまった友達のことを思い出すのはとても辛いことだから。ご飯もうすぐできるからテーブルの上片付けてくれる？
わかったよ。
It was obvious that Nono was avoiding talking about Senri Minamisawa. Maybe it didn't matter at this point. But still, something was bothering me, like a thorn pricking at my heart. Senri Minamisawa. Maybe I needed to learn more about her. Huh. It was one thing to decide to learn more about Senri Minamisawa, but the question was how to go about it. I asked Kunosato and Shinjo, but they didn't have much to tell me. They knew nothing beyond what we'd found in the basement of AH Tokyo General, which meant that I had to ask someone who did know. To be honest, I wasn't happy with the idea, but I didn't have much choice. Yeah, what do you know? I'm not happy about this either. If I wanted to talk to him, this was the best place to catch him. Nono would ask questions if I left the house in my school uniform, so I went without it. That meant I stood out like a sore thumb. I recognized some of the students passing by, but they didn't pay any attention to me. They just chatted with their friends as they walked by. I waited for about 30 minutes. Finally, he appeared from the other side of the school gate.
宮代?
Kawahara frowned when he saw me. I'll bet he did. I knew he didn't like me, but he also probably felt awkward after what had happened yesterday.
ちょっと話があるんだけど、いいですか？
もしかして、俺に宣戦布告でもしに来たか？
え？
なんだ、クルスに手を出すなって言いに来たわけじゃないのか？それなら少しは見直してやるところだったのにな。
Kawahara seemed to misunderstand how things stood between me and Nono.
で？
え？
話があるんだろ？だったらさっさと言えよ。
Kawahara didn't even bother to hide his irritation with me. People were staring at us as they walked by.
もしよかったら、どこか別の場所で。
Kawahara sighed and started to walk. I followed him.
この辺でいいだろう。
He was standing on the side of a road without even a bench. It felt like his way of saying that he didn't want to talk for long.
早く言えよ。言っとくが俺は、お前の顔すら見たくないんだからな。
I figured. I could tell from his tone that his hatred towards me was building. But I felt the same way. I just wanted to ask him my questions and get the hell out of here.
川原くんは南沢千里さんと友達だったんですよね。
南沢？お前がなんで急にあんな奴のこと聞きたがるんだよ。
それはちょっと気になることがあって。
別に南沢はクルスと仲が良かっただけで、俺はあいつのことを友達だなんて思ってない。
I could tell that from the way he'd acted the other day. Yeah, no kidding.
南沢さんはどういう人だったんでしょう。
そんなことクルスに聞けばいいだろう。あいつの方がずっと仲が良かったんだから。
クルスはあんまり覚えてないって言ってます。
覚えてない？そんなはずないだろ。俺だって覚えてるんだ。俺なんかよりずっと一緒にいたクルスが覚えてないわけない。
例えば。
Kawahara glared at me, but then he sighed and started to talk.
南沢は初めて会った時から気味の悪いやつだったよ。
What? That,
いつも暗い顔して顔色も悪くて、声も小さくて何言ってんだかわかんねえし、陰気を絵に描いたようなやつで、まんまクルスの引き立て役だよ。そうだな、そういうとこお前にちょっと似てるかもな。
I know that's a dig at us, but that's making me think of Serika, because her only role is to make us look better by comparison. Like, this is still driving me crazy. Kurisu said that she had a secret that she would eventually let us in on, and we probably hate her for it. Is it that she's a gigolomaniac? Because we don't really hate her for that. I mean, that is a big secret, but something that would make us hate her, though? Like maybe this is where we're going. He laughed. He wasn't even trying to hide his disgust with me anymore. But I didn't care.
それで彼女はどういう家とか。
ああ、確か親が怪しげな新興宗教にハマっててさ。
Like Uki's?
新興宗教。
Like, we don't know this in this particular branch, but that was Uki's parents' situation, wasn't it?
名前までは忘れちまったけど、それで毎週日曜になるとそこの施設に通ってんだって言ってた。
Interesting.
どこっつってたかな。確かでっかい病院の地下とか言ってたな。
That's where the cult was? Unless it wasn't a cult and it was just the experiments and that's it. But if that's the case, like, if you have to disguise yourself as a cult, I'm assuming there was an actual cult, because no one's going to use a cult as a front. Usually you'd think that'd be the hidden part.
AH 東京総合病院。
そこだよ、そこ。なんだ、お前知ってんのか？
いや、そういうわけじゃ。
So Senri Minamisawa had been going there after all. But wait, did that place belong to some cult back then?
ああ、そういや。
He must have started to remember as he talked, because he was speaking faster and more clearly.
いつも長袖着て隠してたけど、体育の時にチラッと見えたんだよ。そしたら腕に針の跡とかいっぱいあってさ。
As bad as that sounds, it's probably the hospital experiments, which is still bad.
だんだん学校も休むようになって、今考えるとやばいよな、あれ。そんなだからうちの親なんかにもあいつとは付き合うなって言われてたんだけど、クルスが付き合うもんだから。
Kawahara's tone became sharper and angrier as he remembered the past. As I listened to him, of course, I was remembering the girl named Senri Minamisawa. I was sure her parents had taken her to that research lab. She was undergoing experiments there every week. The goal, of course, was to awaken her gigolomaniac powers. See, but this concerns me. I thought they grew up at the orphanage. Was this before Aoba or something? Because her parents took her here? What the hell? I didn't know if her parents had agreed to the experiments. Well, okay. But it was easy to imagine that she hadn't wanted to do them herself, considering she asked us to rescue her. And there was one more thing I could tell from this conversation. That was...
ねえ、 そのことをクルスは。
知ってるに決まってるだろ。さっきも言ったように、あいつは俺よりもずっと南沢と親しかったんだ。しょっちゅう悩みを打ち明けられたりしてたみたいだし、あいつの両親のことだって俺なんかよりもずっと知ってるはずだよ。そもそも今の話だってほとんどガキの頃にクルスから聞いた話だしな。
そう。
よーってのはそれだけか。
That is a lot.
うん。ありがとう。
なんなんだよ。なんで俺がこんなこと。
This is still kind of weird. He is acting a lot more normal than he was yesterday, but at the same time, earlier in the story, he punched us when Kurisu got injured and then came by way of apology. But now he's really got open disgust. I bowed to Kawahara and turned to go.
おい、宮代。
I heard his voice behind me.
クルスに早く学校に来るように伝えろ。それから、もしまたクルスに何かあったりしてみろ。ただじゃ済まさねえからな。
He did the first time, so alright. Once he was done talking, he walked off. But to be honest, I didn't care. What was important was that.
ごめんなさい。千里とは友達だったけど、あの子の家のこととかあまりよく知らないのよ。だからもういいでしょ。
This ought to be interesting. Nono was lying to me after all. Nono was hiding something. Something involving Senri Minamisawa, even after she'd promised that she wouldn't keep any secrets, which meant that was a lie too. I had dinner and took a bath. Yuto and Uki had already gone to sleep. Nono had her textbook out on the table. Even when she wasn't going to school, she was still keeping up with her studies. She'd asked her friends about what subjects they were covering and kept up with them at home. As student council president, she was trying to set an example. I'd gotten my Pokecom online, but nothing I was seeing was going into my head. I was trying to figure out how to bring things up with Nono.
もう、なーに？
何が？
さっきから何か言いたそうにしてるでしょ？
どうして？
それくらいわかるわよ。タクルのことだもん。
Was that because we were family? But then why?
ちょっと外いいか？
うん。
I went outside with Nono. Of course, we couldn't go too far with the little ones to think about, so we only took a few steps from the apartment. Nono followed after me, confused. She looked just a bit nervous, probably because she wasn't sure why I'd asked her to come out here with me. I turned around to face Nono.
なーに改まって。もしかして告白でもしてくれるの？
は？何言ってんだよ、いきなり。
だってこんな夜にわざわざ外に連れ出すなんて、そんな感じじゃない？
It was true that maybe you could interpret the situation that way. Maybe.
もうわかってる。冗談よ。そんなにうろたえなくてもいいじゃない。まあ、もし冗談じゃなかったとしても、私としては嬉しいけど。
からかうのはよせよ。
I took a deep breath to help me focus as I got ready to change the subject.
タクル？
A look of tension appeared on her face when she saw how I was acting.
あのさ、正直に答えてほしいんだけど。
うん。
お前、僕に隠し事してないか？
In the end, all I could do was ask her straight.
え？
嘘ついてることあるんじゃないのか？
なに急に。どうしていきなりそんなこと言うの？
Nono smiled, but I could tell she was forcing herself to smile.
言ったよな。家族の間に隠し事はしないって。あの約束破ってないか？ノノ。
Maybe she had her reasons, but even so, I was tired of it all. I was tired of being betrayed. I was tired of having the people I cared about lie to me. We took that branching path once. It ended very badly. There was a moment's silence. It was Nono who broke it.
信じて
What? Her voice was so tiny I could barely hear it.
お願い信じて
Okay.
ノノ。
これじゃ答えにならないっていうのは分かってる。でも今はお願い。
In the darkness, I couldn't see the look on her face, but her voice was full of sorrow and pain. Unless I trusted Nono, we could never truly be a family. Nono had said she wouldn't hide anything else. She'd said she wouldn't lie anymore. I was tired of being lied to, like when I'd found out about my parents' death. Yeah, we haven't gotten that far in this branching path. We got more to figure out, but maybe we won't this time. I didn't ever want to go through what I'd experienced when I found out Serica was behind the killings again. Yeah, but I still don't think we figured out that Serica killed the parents, though. So all I could do now was...
わかった。僕はノノを信じ。
相変わらず甘いね、タクは。
No way. A bitter voice echoed in the darkness. The clouds split and the moon shone down to reveal the person in the darkness. Her D-sword shone in the moonlight and a broken smile was plastered on her lips.
おのえ。
A cold chill of terror ran down my spine and I could feel myself start to sweat. I'd let my guard down. I'd thought that if I was lucky I might never see her again. And I started to think that maybe I would be that lucky. I never thought she'd just show up out of nowhere like this.
いい気なものだな、クルスノノ。
セリカ、何をしに来たの？
それくらいわからないのか。
あなたみたいな人が考えることなんてわかるわけないわ。
あなたみたいな人。まるで自分だけが宮代拓を大切にしている。そんな言い方だな。気に入らない。
私はあなたとは違う。タクルのため、タクルが望んでいるから、そんな理由をつけてタクルを悲しませているあなたとは違うのよ。
I could almost see the invisible flames building up between them.
まあいい。聞きたいと言うなら教えてやろう。私がここに来たのは、お前からもらったものを返してやるためだ。
Excuse me? Serica laughed in twisted glee. That wasn't the Serica I knew. The naive ditzy girl that was always by my side was gone now.
もらったもの？何のことかわからないけれど、その必要はないわ。持って帰ってくれて結構よ。
おお、ずいぶんと気前がいいんだな。だが、そういうわけにはいかない。あいにく、やられたことはきちんとやり返す主義でね。
Does something to her? Yeah, what? Unless this is regarding the duel and how they shared each other's thoughts, I have no clue.
気をつけろ、ノノ。おのえは報復するつもりだ。
報復？そう。つまり、あなたはタクルを取られた復讐に来たってわけね。でも。
Nono pulled her D-sword from the void and readied it in front of Serica's face. But Serica didn't move a muscle. She just kept smiling.
血の気の多い女だ。それがお前の本性というわけか。いいか、復讐というのは何も力によってのみ遂行されるものじゃない。
どういう意味？
例えば、お前が必死になって隠していること、宮代拓が知ったらどう思うかな。
I really am curious. what she was trying to hide? Nono was hiding something from me? But she just told me to believe her.
タクはまだ知らないみたいだから教えてあげなきゃね。
Again, I was wondering, when she called Kurisu a fraud, it was like, oh, maybe that's because she has a less effective version of Arimura's power, but that can't be it, especially when she asked, oh, were you ever really good at sports? Something's going on.
やめて。
ねえ、聞いて、タク。その女、クルス・ノノはね。
やめて。
Nono's D-sword flashed down at Serika's head. There was a shower of pale sparks.
ほら見てタク、これがこの女の本性。
Kurisu did say, oh, after 6 years ago, I swore never to use those swords again, like, something went down. Nono flipped her wrist around, and this time the silver light flashed upwards. There was a roar of spiraling wind. Even I could tell that Nono's stance was all wrong. Serika was easily deflecting her attacks and grinning all the while.
ねえタク、まだわからない？その女の本当の姿が。
本当の姿?
The only thing I can think of, and it doesn't make sense, I had mentioned, I think, toward the beginning of the entire game, could Senri have been Kurisu, even though the hair color was a bit different? But there is a photo of all three of them together, and Kawahara keeps talking about how they hang out together.
お願い。やめて。
しょうがないわね。じゃあ私の口から教えてあげる。クルス・ノノのいいえ。
Oh?
南沢千里の真実を。
Interesting. I called this at the beginning of the entire game, but that still doesn't explain who the little pink-haired girl was unless she's just some random person who ended up dying or disappearing or something. But the photo of the three of them, though, how does Kawahara talk about Kurisu and Senri? Senri Minawasawa and Nono Kurisu were friends. Nono was bright and cheerful, and everyone loved and admired her. Senri looked up to her too. Senri, however, was well aware that she was gloomy, that she mumbled, and that no one liked her. So when Nono first spoke to her, she was more confused than happy. She even wondered if Nono was trying to show off what a good girl she was by hanging out with a failure like her. In fact, that's how everyone else had seen it. But as she got to know Nono, Senri stopped doubting. The two of them just seemed to get along somehow. Senri was quiet, and Nono liked to take care of people. The two of them became fast friends. Senri Minamisawa was a dear friend to Nono Kurisu. But for Senri, it wasn't that simple. From her perspective, Nono Kurisu had everything you could ever want. She was jealous. She knew it was wrong to think that way. She knew she should never think that way. But the more she thought about it, the stronger the feeling became.
ののちゃんが羨ましい。ののちゃんみたいになれればいいのに。
Oh, is that her psychic power? I created Serika and she recreated herself? Does that imply that Kurisu's been dead for years and we've just been friends with Senri? That'd be wild.
もしもののちゃんのような星のもとに生まれていたなら、そうすれば私だってきっと私はののちゃんになりたい。
Oh, how? That was Senri Minamisawa's wish. And then, 6 years ago, there had been a deafening roar, a violent shaking, and a blinding light. Nono Kurisu was right in front of Senri. Nono was caught by a collapsing building and on the verge of death. She could barely keep her eyes open. There was nothing Senri could do for her.
死にたくないよ。私もっとやりたいこといっぱい。まだ死にたく。
And then her voice faded away. Senri would never hear it again. Nono Kurisu would never move again. You know what that means, though? That means that the Kurisu we know, who is Senri, that explains it. That was driving me crazy, because it said that Kurisu was aware that we were there by ourselves, and how could Sarika have been there? But at the same time, how could Kurisu have known we'd gone down to the basement in the first place? My assumption was that we knew her at the time and told her we were going on an adventure, but no, she was the girl behind the glass. That's why she saw us by ourselves. That's freaking crazy. Senri cried. She knelt before Nono and cried and cried. Nono Kurisu was her only friend. She was sad to have lost her. And...
ののちゃん、私ね、ののちゃんみたいになりたかったの。どうして死んじゃったの？ねえ、どうして死ねばよかった。私が死ねばよかったんだ。私なんてどうせ生きていたってまた苦しい実験にさらされるだけだもん。生きていても誰も喜んでなんてくれないもん。ののちゃんの代わりに私が死ねば。
And then there was a light.
なんということでしょう。目の前に魔法の剣が現れたかと思うと、南沢千里の体は不思議な光で包まれたのでした。そして驚いたことに、その姿は彼女にとって憧れの少女クルス・ノノへと変身していたのです。
Wow, so Kurisu was lying to us about her lying power. I did find it weird that her lying power worked 60% of the time. What the hell wish was that gonna be? But this is something special. This is unexpected.
それこそが彼女、南沢千里のギガロマニアックスとしての覚醒でした。発光の少女、南沢千里は本物のクルス・ノノを南沢千里として葬ることで。
That's nuts. It also explains why her sword is also a shield, because her whole existence is defense. But that's interesting because that means that she doesn't really have psychic powers. She could produce the sword, but her psychic power was being this person. So that's it.
醜いアヒルの子から白鳥へと生まれ変わり、輝かしい第二の人生を歩き始めることにしたのでした。めでたしめでたし。どうだったタク？南沢千里とクルス・ノノ、二人の少女の取り替え早物語は楽しかった？
You told a different tale, but The Changelings is something else. A story from medieval Japan. It describes the tale of a young boy and a girl who are raised as the opposite sex and the chaos that ensues. Oh, I was thinking of the mythological creature, the Changeling. Sometimes it is also used as a name for other stories involving characters who switch sex or social position. Okay, but the mythological creature who, like, steals babies from their cribs and then takes their place? My pulse began to quicken and I started to lose the ability to think clearly. I could feel my soul shifting within my body. The ground under me shook unsteadily. No, it wasn't just the ground, it was my whole world. Everything that made up the person named Takuro Miyashiro began to shake. My head hurt and I couldn't understand what I was hearing. What did I just hear? Was Serika telling me that Nono was Senri Minamisawa? Nono was a gigalomaniac. I knew that already. But her power was...
違う。ギガロマニアックスとしてのノノの能力は有村と同じはずだ。人が嘘をついているかどうかを見抜ける能力。そうだったよな、ノノ。
See, this is interesting because throughout the entire game, I have pointed out that Arimura says this is true or that's a lie, and technically she herself could be lying. So far, that actually hasn't happened, surprisingly. But Kurusu said she had the same power, but it turns out she was lying. Go figure.
どうなんだよ、ノノ。
Nono said nothing. She just looked very sad. Serika's lips curled up into a mocking grin.
タクってば本当にバカなんだから。やっぱりタクには私がついてないとダメだよね。
To be fair, how the hell were we supposed to know that?
どういうことだよ。
有村ひなえと同じ。人が嘘をついているかどうかを見抜ける。嘘で塗り固めた反省のくせに苦し紛れについた嘘はずさんだな。
That's true.
嘘なんかじゃない。
私はなんだ、また宮代拓郎に嘘つくつもりか。
Yeah, it doesn't work on Serika. She doesn't have specifically Armor's power, but she could read minds, so she knows anyway.
違う。私はクルスノノよ。
Technically true. A weird kind of true. Serika must have thought Nono's words were the funniest thing in the world because her body was racked with laughter.
呆れた。この後に及んでまだそんな嘘がつけるとは。お前大した玉だよ。
おのえ。
しょうがないから私の口からもう一度はっきり言ってやろう。いいか宮代拓郎、その嘘つき女の能力は複写だよ。
複写。
そう言うなればコピー。容姿、声色、寸分の違いなく別人になり変わることのできる能力。それがそいつの能力。
Wait, she can just do that? It wasn't just to become Kurusu and that's it. She can just do that? Because that radically complicates the entire game. Although I don't think that's happened at all in the entire story, but if she could do that, that would be bananas. In other words...
だからタクが言い含められたのは全くの嘘。タクは騙されてたんだよ。初めて会ったその時からずーっと。
僕は。
Finally, I felt a shock, like being hit with a club, run through my skull. No, I'd been feeling that shock for a while now, but my mind was just so dulled that I couldn't even think.
ちょっとすごいだろ。まさかそこまで嘘ずくめだったなんてさすがに想像すらしてなかっただろ。でもお前もこれで分かっただろう。クルスノノ、いや南沢千里という女の醜く悪辣な本性を。南沢千里は親友が死んだことを悲しむどころか、これ幸いとあっけなく切り捨て、南沢千里として慰霊碑の下に葬った。そして自らは美しく明るく聡明で誰からも好かれるクルスノノとして第二の人生を謳歌していたんだよ。違う。ほんと感心するよ。 普通なら罪悪感というものがあるはずだよ。よくそれで毎日ああやって笑っていられたものだな。
女って怖い。
But this is ironic because both of them were living false lives this entire time. Serica's one to talk.
何が違う？
Serica's cold voice shot through the night like a bullet.
虚構と虚栄にまみれた汚らわしいペテン師。それが偽らざるお前の正体なんだよ。南沢千里。
There was a mocking light in her eye as she glared at Nono. Without even thinking about it, I closed my eyes and put my hands to my temples. Black doubts rose up and began to take shape. I'd seen Senri Minamisawa in my nightmares 1,000 times. I thought she hated me for not being able to help her. I thought she was the one behind the New Generation murders. And she was actually Nono?
嘘よ。そんなの。
おお、さすがだな。まだそんなことが言えるなんて。でも、まあいい。
Serica laughed a little and turned around to leave.
殺してやろうかと思ったけど、今日はこのままにしてやろう。なぜって、その方が面白そうだからだよ。せいぜい宮代拓に言い訳なりなんなりするがいい。惨めに、無様に、滑稽に。すべてを偽っていた醜い自分を許してと地面に頭をこすりつけて泣いて謝ればいい。もっともそんなことしたところで許してくれるかどうかはわからないがな。
She walked off into the darkness of the night, her laughter echoing down the street. I couldn't follow. I was helplessly caught up in what she said, as if I'd fallen into a whirlpool.
タクル。
I turned toward the sound of a hoarse voice. Nono was smiling at me weakly.
ノノ。
やっぱりあの子どうかしちゃったのよ。あんな見えすいた嘘つくだなんて。
Ooh, wrong thing to say.
嘘。
そうよ。あんなの嘘に決まってるでしょ。私たちを疑心暗鬼に陥らせて喧嘩させるためのセリカの見えすいた嘘。
Lies? Who was lying and who was telling the truth?
第一、誰かと入れ替わるなんてそんなことできるわけないじゃない。あんな妄想を信じろだなんてどうかしてるわ。
Was it just a delusion?
タクル。
Her voice was nervous.
タクルは信じてくれるよね。
ノノ。
私を信じてくれるよね。
Nono was right. I couldn't completely trust Serica right now. There was a good chance she was trying to make us suspicious of each other. But was everything Serica said a lie? But
タクル。
there was one thing I could say for sure. That was,
信じていいのか。
I wanted to believe in Nono.
本当に信じていいのか。
She said we were a family. She said we wouldn't have any secrets, and I wanted to believe her. I didn't want to go through that anymore. I didn't want to be betrayed by the people I cared about anymore.
分かった。僕はノノを信じたい。
I was probably saying that to myself, not to her. The real Nono Kurisu was already dead. And another girl, Senri Minamisawa, had taken her place. Serica's words had come out of nowhere, and I couldn't believe them, and I'd already said that I believed Nono when she said she was telling the truth. I wanted to believe, but...
タクル、おかわりは？
いや、いい。
朝だってあんまり食べてなかったけど、ひょっとして調子悪い？
別に大丈夫だから。
そう。
I said I wanted to believe, but it just wouldn't be that easy for any human being. The more you want to believe, the more you try not to think about something, the more the tiny thorn in your heart digs deeper into you. I knew that was just what Sarika wanted, but that didn't mean there was anything I could do about it.
もしかしてタクルさんとノノさん喧嘩してます？
え？
昨日からなんだかよそよそしい感じがしたので。
のの姉ちゃんたち喧嘩してるの？別にそんなことないわよ。ねえタクル。
ああ、喧嘩なんかしてない。
タクル兄ちゃん、早く謝った方がいいよ。
だから喧嘩してないって言ってるだろ。仮にしていたとしても、なんで僕が原因ってことになるんだよ。
だってのの姉ちゃんが怒ってる時は大体そうだもん。
That's pretty good.
心配しないで言うと、別にタクルが何かしたわけじゃないから。本当？ほんと。それよりほら、ちゃんと人参も食べなきゃダメよ。
僕人参嫌い。
そんなこと言ってたら強い男の子になれないわよ。
Nona was bothered by it too, and it showed up in the way she was acting. The doubts within me, and Nono's unease, had built up to the point where even Yamazoe could sense them. We'd fallen right into Sarika's trap. If there was any way to get out of this, it was... Well, I guess we'll have to find out what it is. My suggestion? Take her to Arimura. It'll hurt to do, but that'll settle things. But for now, it is time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today, didn't we? We had a startling revelation. We are doubting if what Sarika said was true, but why would Nono try so hard to prevent her from telling it, and then not have an immediate response when she did? It seems that Nono Kurisu is in fact Senri Minamisawa and has been this entire time. That is a shocking revelation. The question is, how are we going to deal with it? And the question that makes me probably more nervous is, why is this story called Heads or Tails? Until next time, everyone.